One step to the left, a quick and simple way to turn your enthusiasm or anxiety about the election into effective action. The most important thing to know is that winning elections takes a lot of people and a lot of hours. So this website guides you through two things. One, how to find easy and enjoyable things that you will do a lot of, and two, how to get people you know to start taking those same steps. So let's dive in. Give me one easy step. Letter writing. Letter writing is the easiest entry point. It's relaxing, it's fun, and it is the thing we can consistently turn out the most people for. But that's not all that it is. It's also your most powerful organizing tool. Because once you've done it for yourself, the most important thing you can do is start to organize other people. Find a friend, or three, and say, I've got these letters to write, will you help me? Because all that organizing is using your relationships to persuade people to do something they wouldn't otherwise have done. Turning out one other person for a letter party is organizing. That's where power comes from. It's also where you start building your team of people who will keep you motivated and accountable to following through on the actions you say you're going to take later on. Now, here's the next organizing step. Writing letters to folks in swing states is great, but the most persuasive messenger is someone we know having an interactive conversation. So, you sit down with your buddies, and together you each make a list of everyone you know who's in a swing state. And I've got links here for where you can find those swing states, or there are apps that'll help you out with it as well. Once you've done that, voila! That small a number of steps, and a complete political newbie is already on the most effective track. If you go back over here to the main menu, and you were to click on what's the most effective thing you've got, that's exactly where we are. It's making that list of everyone you know in swing states and reaching out to them. So, what do you do with your list? The key thing is that different people are going to need different things. You're going to ask them for different stuff. Like I have Facebook friends that I haven't spoken to since high school. Am I going to message them and be like, hey, I haven't talked to you in 20 years, go vote? No, not going to do that. That doesn't feel respectful of the relationship. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to reach out to them, connect, chat. And then I'm going to be super glad there was an election as an excuse because it was really fun and I wish I'd done it years ago. Connecting meaningfully with other human beings is a hugely fun thing to do. Our brains are hardwired for it. And then once you're connected, you can see where they are in terms of the other options that are on this list. The next thing people you're often going to know a lot of are other strong Democrats. Especially currently, there's more and more partisan sorting among friend groups. It's tempting to be like, well, I know them, they're 100% voting, they're voting for the Dems, there's no point in reaching out. Wrong. Their one step to the left is to start reaching out to their contacts. You lead them through the same thing you just did here. Letter parties can be virtual, works just fine. Because if you can get 5 people to recruit 5 people, exponential growth expands the number of people in the network very quickly. It's also helpful, and there's a link down here a little further, to record your contacts to be able to keep track of what you've done and to stay motivated. The ultimate goal of all this, though, is to find those undecided voters. These may be people who are undecided about who to vote for, or who are undecided about whether to vote. Your goal is to find as many people in your social network who are undecided and live in swing states, and your friends' social networks who can be persuaded to vote who wouldn't otherwise have done so. Depending on what your network is like, you may not know a ton of people or a ton of people in the right areas, but you likely know someone who knows someone, and supporting them to reach out counts too. The key for engaging with undecided voters is to listen. It's really tempting to argue with them and try to make them change their mind. This overwhelmingly does not work. What we do have research on is something called deep canvassing, which focuses on listening and personal connections. It's basically the only thing we have data on that has consistent positive effects for persuading people to change their mind. So if you look here, there are resources. There's a great article that has a video of an actual conversation, great place to get started. More resources on deep canvassing here. And once you've gotten into finding and persuading undecided voters and you've found the ones who are in your network, go find more. Political campaigns have lots of options for canvassing and phone banking. methods that can reach people outside your social networks. They're all important. There's also some, if you live in a swing state specifically, there are also some sort of combination things like Indivisible's neighbor-to-neighbor program, which is sort of a mix between traditional canvassing and relational organizing or reaching out to people you know. And there's a Mobilize link here that will help you find the canvassing and phone banking opportunities that are nearest you. All of these things are important. All of them need to be done. And they're all more fun with a buddy. Canvassing in particular, you bring a friend, you get to walk around on a nice day, chat with your buddy between houses, and have some great conversations with the people you meet. It all makes a difference. So these are the main tools, and the approach for other folks is similar to that. For people who don't vote, they're really just undecided voters. They're just undecided about voting. You can check out some details there. MAGA supporters are really not where you want to be focusing your energy right before an election, but there are steps left for them to take long-term that are more issue-related. The leap and change in partisan identity is much too big for a single step, though, and so you want to make sure you don't get bogged down spending a whole ton of time on people who aren't going to change their mind about who they're going to vote for. So that's most of it. If I go back to the main menu here, there are some other options that you can explore on your own if you like, but that's the basic building blocks of what you'll find. So check it out. Then, once you checked it out, the most important thing you can do is get out your calendar, schedule what action you're going to take and when you're going to take it. There are lots of great options here. Just grab one and get to it. See you at the victory party.